What is up, guys? I'm your friendly neighborhood web war fanatic, and we are here with another hero tier list. And this time, I'll be ranking every single hero in Marvel Champions by how rich they are, how good is their economy, do they have a lot of money, or do they not have a lot of money. And I do want to give a huge shout out to the channel members. Thank you guys so much. I asked you guys and had a channel members poll, and you guys voted for economy as the next category that you guys want to see me rank. So if you guys do not know, I have 5 major categories that I value each hero by. That is their thwarting, their attacking, their survivability, their economy, and their versatility. And we've done the thwarting and the versatility. So next we're going to be doing economy. Thank you so much to the channel members. I really appreciate y'all's support, and it really helps me out and really helps the channel out as well. Okay, so let's go ahead and jump into it here. So I do want to say before we begin that this list is only going to be for a hero's economy. So even if a hero is like, let's say for example, Cyclops is an S tier level hero, if he's not that rich, I might just put him, in the B tier, because this list is only going to be for the economy of a hero, not how good they are overall, right? Yeah, and then let's go through the categories here. So for the S tier, these are going to be the most rich heroes in the game of Marvel Champions, and I just put billionaire right here because they're going to be billionaires in the game. A tier are going to be very rich heroes, so they are above average. They do have resources, probably they have like a double resource, something like that, something on their identity card to help give them extra economy. B tier are going to be heroes that are middle class, right in the middle of the pack. They're average. They're not bad, but they're not good either. And there are some heroes. Actually, let's go ahead and just rank Iron Man here. He's a good example for me. I like to rank him to kind of explain my thoughts. So Iron Man is a hero that needs to build in order to get his economy up, right? So he has a hand size of only 1 in his hero form, but you get +1 hand size for each tech upgrade that Iron Man has in play, right? So, on turn 1, he has 0 tech upgrades, so he's going to have only hand size of 1. But late game, if you get, 6 tech upgrades in play, Iron Man can have up to a max hand size of 7, which is really, really crazy, right? Because in Marvel Champions, the average hand size for a hero in their hero form is going to be 5. So Iron Man has 7, which is crazy if he gets fully built out, but he has to work for it. So heroes that have to work for it are also going to be in the B tier, the middle class. And that's kind of ironic because, Tony, he is a billionaire, in Marvel comics, in the lore. But yeah, in this game, because he has to work so hard in order to get his economy going, he is going to go in the B tier here for me. I do want to say, whenever Iron Man is built out, he's definitely an S tier level hero in terms of his economy. He's one of the richest in the game whenever he's built out. But early game, it's a little bit of a struggle to get built out. So because of that, I am going to put him overall in the B tier for his economy. Next, we have the C tier. These are just going to be heroes that are, below average. They are a little bit poor. And then D tier are the worst tier. So D tier are heroes that cannot even afford their own cards. So C tier, even though, heroes in this list may not be able to afford, like a bunch of allies, they may not be able to afford, putting in like Avengers Mansion or cards like that in their deck, they can still at least pay for their own stuff. D tier are heroes that, their kit doesn't even make sense for the economy that they have. They just can't even afford, paying for their own identity specific cards. Yeah, so let's go ahead and jump into here. Let's take a look at, let's just go like straight in order here. So we're going to do Star-Lord here. So Star-Lord, he is, I think he's pretty rich, right? Let me think. So he has his What Could Go Wrong as his hero ability, where he can reduce the cost of the next card he plays by 3, and he plays it straight down, but he has to deal with a face down counter card in order to do that. He actually has no resource generators. He has no double resource or anything else like that. Actually, I'm going to put him here in the B tier, and I'm actually going to put him behind Iron Man. This is going to be a little bit hard to evaluate. I do want to preface that this is also entirely subjective. It's just going to be my opinion of how I view the game and how I view the heroes in the game. So Star-Lord, he definitely starts out on turn 1 with way more economy than Iron Man, right? Like on turn 1, Star-Lord's got it going. He's got hand size of 6 in Alter Ego, hand size of 5 in hero form. So that is, the normal curve that we're looking for with the hero, right? The Alter Ego hand size of 6, the hero hand size of 5. So Star-Lord's got that. Iron Man doesn't have that. But Star-Lord, he doesn't have any resource generators, he doesn't have anything else to help add to his economy, but he does have, What Could Go Wrong. But when you use that to play a card down, you have to do yourself a face down counter card, which can be really rough. So he's just kind of right in the middle of the pack. I do also want to mention he does have a setup ability where you can get an element gun, straight to your hand. So he does start every single game with a hand size of, 7 pretty much. And then Smooth Talker can let you swap, that's his Alter Ego ability. You can swap the top card of your deck with the card in your hand. It doesn't really add any, bonuses. If you get a double, it's great, but you won't know if you're getting a double or not, right? So Yeah, I think Star-Lord's just going to be right in the middle of the pack for me. He doesn't feel like super duper rich, but he definitely does not feel bad either. I think there are definitely more rich heroes than Star-Lord. And Iron Man, I think that I'm going to evaluate that his peak potential, being able to fully build out and have the hands of 7, the potential of being an S tier over Star-Lord, because Star-Lord does not have the potential to be an S tier level hero, even whenever he's fully built out in terms of his economy. All right, next, let's take a look at Agent Venom here. Venom, I think, is, let's see, he's pretty rich, right? So he has the same regular hand size, right? 6 in alter ego, 5 in hero form. His hero ability, you can deal him 1 damage to generate a wild resource. That's pretty good. So he has it on his printed identity card, which is really good. So at minimum, he's going to be at least in B tier, right? And does he have anything else going on for him? Does he have resource generators? He has an alter ego, his Project Rebirth, where if you're an alter ego and you exhaust it, you choose to heal 3 damage or draw a card. So drawing a card is nice, but that's only alter ego. It's not the most reliable thing. He does have the spider sense, but it's not on his printed identity card like Spider-Man Peter Parker. His spider sense is a 2-cost upgrade that he has to play. I don't know. So I've said this before. In my opinion, a 2-cost upgrade, I'll much prefer that to actually be a resource generator, like for Captain America's Super Soldier Serum, than the spider sense ability, because having that printed on your card is really nice, because when the villain attacks you, you can, draw a card. But if it's not on your printed card, you have to actually pay for it. You cannot use it every single turn, and you cannot use it the exact turn that you play it, right? Because you play it in that turn, you don't get the economy, the extra economy from it, and you get it in the next villain phase that comes up when the villain initiates an attack against you. So because of that, that's not my favorite thing with that. I do think that Venom has more economy than Star-Lord, though. I think Venom is going to be a B tier level hero in terms of his economy. And here is just going to be, is the early game of Venom better than Iron Man's late game? I'm going to put Venom also behind Iron Man. I think that he's better than Star-Lord. And similar to Star, he also has a set ability where you can mill from top of your deck until you get one of Venom's, or get any weapon upgrade you can add to your hand. So Venom also starts every single game with a hand size of 7 too, just like Star-Lord. So early game, these guys got Iron Man beat, for sure. So I'm definitely not going to argue that. But Iron Man's peak potential whenever he's fully built out, I think I'm probably going to put him in the higher end of B tier, just because I do value that, fully built out status more than just having a good early game potential, right? But having both is the most important thing, right? If a hero has both, they're going to be rich. Heroes like cream of the crop, they're going to be, S tier in the billionaire category. Okay, so next, let's take a look at Ant-Man here. Ant-Man has hand size of 6 in alter ego, 5 in his tiny form, and a 4 in his giant form. But he does have Ant-Man's helmet, so you get that down whenever you change to your tiny form. You can draw a card. Pin Particles also draw you a card. That's his resource card. It's not a double resource, though. Ant-Man, he's going to go average to me as well. And he feels pretty fluid, but you need to get that helmet down to really get his economy going. Other than that, he doesn't have any other resource generators in his kit. He does have access to a Quinn carrier, though, which is pretty nice because he has the Avengers trait. Yeah, I think overall he is not as rich as Star-Lord or Venom, but definitely not bad at all. And once you get that helmet down, he definitely goes in the rich tier. But before that happens, he's going to stay down here. So I think overall, B tier is solid for Ant-Man. All right, next let's take a look at Cyclops. So Cyclops has, the regular hand size as well. He's going to be at least B tier, right? His alter ego ability, you can, it's the tactician ability where you can search through your deck for a tactic upgrade as to your hand. So you can do that on turn 1. So he pretty much also starts every single game with a hand size of 7. But every time you flip down to alter ego, you can also trigger that ability, and you effectively get +1 card to your hand that you can either play or spend as a resource. So that is really good. He's definitely going to be, I think, better than these guys here. Even better than Iron Man. And then, let's see, what else does he have? I don't think he has any other. So he has his Visor, which is a resource generator, but only for his Optic Blast ability, so I'm not really going to count that as a resource generator. He doesn't really have too many other things, right? That's kind of always got going on, the alter ego ability. He does have pretty cool events, right? So, for example, his Thwarting event, if you play it, you can remove 3 that from the screen, but also get a tactic card from your discard pile and add it straight to your hand, right? His alter ego ability has to get a tactic upgrade. The Thwarting event can get any tactic card in discard pile. So, it's 2 for 3 threat removal, but you're kind of getting that 1 resource back. Cyclops overall feels pretty rich just because of his access to the allies. I think I'll put him in the higher end of B tier here. Yeah, he doesn't have any resource generators. Yeah, he's still not going to be an A tier level hero in terms of his richness. Yeah, okay. Next, let's take a look at, let's kind of skip around. Let's just do Hulk here, right? Because I feel like everyone that I've been doing is in the B tier so far. So Hulk here, He has a below average hand size, so hand size of 5 in Alter Ego instead of 6, and hand size of 4 in hero form instead of 5. That's already really bad, so he's going to be at least D tier, right, in terms of how rich he is. Bruce Banner has an Alter Ego ability called Scientist. It's a terrible ability, so basically you can draw a card and discard a card from your hand. So he already only has hand size of 5, but he can't even draw a straight up card like Captain Marvel's Commander. Once you draw, you have to discard any card in your hand, so you kind of lose the +1 net gain. You get no net gain, right? So that is really terrible. He does have triple resources in his deck, which is really, really nice. Triple resources are great, but you can only spend Hulk's triple resource in hero form because it's only a hero resource, which does kind of stink. He does have one resource generator in his Banner's laboratory, but you can only use that one in Alter Ego. So very, very restrictive. I don't know. He does have some stuff going on for him. I kind of either want to put him at the bottom of C tier, right? Or in the top of D tier. Can he afford his own cards? I think, yeah, I mean, he has expensive cards, but he has a triple to pay for them. And then his other cards are cheap. I don't know. That's a tough one. I think I'm going to put him, for now, let's do the bottom of C tier. And then I highly think that I will drop him down to the D tier later on. But let's just do that for right now. All right, let's skip around. Let's do Captain America here. Captain America, he has 2 resource generators in his Super Soldier Serum, 2 cost upgrade to generate a physical resource. He has the regular hand size, really, really good. I think he's going to be our first rich hero here, right? What else? He has Steve's Apartment as Alter Ego action. You can exhaust it to heal Steve for a damage and also draw a card. That's really nice. His setup also gets his shield to his hand, right? So he starts every single game with a hand size of 7, just like, Venom and Star-Lord with that setup ability. Yeah, Captain America is going to be an A tier above Venom and Star-Lord, right? They're pretty similar, but Captain America has 2 Super Soldier Serums, which is really, really valuable, right? So yeah, he's going to go in the A tier for me, just having just great resource generators that you can play, and it really build out his economy as well. So his build out state is like, similar to like an Iron Man, probably not as good as Iron Man, but like, it's definitely up there versus Venom and Star-Lord. When they're fully built out, it's not going to be on the level of Captain America in terms of their economy. Next, let's do Captain Marvel, just because she's popping out to me right here. Captain Marvel, I for sure think she either goes A or S, right? So Captain Marvel, Commander, his Alter Ego ability, you can draw a card. In hero form, you can spend 1 energy resource to heal damage from her and then draw a card with her rechannel. That's really good. She has her Alter Ego support, which can draw you 2 cards and you discard a card if you're an Alter Ego. If you're in hero form, you just draw a card and discard a card. So kind of just cycling through your deck. Still nice, and she has, triple resources just like Hulk here. But Captain Marvel's triple resources, she can actually spend in Alter Ego or in hero form. Really, really nice. Yeah, she's going to be a billionaire here. She's going to be our first S tier level hero in terms of her survivability. When you're playing Captain Marvel, she has so much card draw, so much economy. She feels very, very rich. I definitely enjoy playing her, and I definitely feel like I can afford like everything whenever I'm playing her. All right, next let's do Vision here. I guess we'll just go back into the regular parts of this list. So Vision, he does have a resource generator. So, I think it's going to be at least B tier. He does have the regular hand size or actually he has a below average hand size, but you do get a +1 hand size if you have him in his, what's it called, intangible form. But unfortunately with the setup, it doesn't count for that, even though you do start in intangible form. So Vision actually starts every single game with a hand size of 5 in his Alter Ego, which is actually horrendous. But I'm not going to count that too much against him. He has the resource generator. His cards, are easy for him to pay for. Yeah, he's solid. He's going to go in the bottom of B tier. He's definitely not as rich as these heroes up here, but definitely not terrible on his own. Next, we have Storm here. Storm is going to also go in the B tier or A tier, actually. Let me think. So Storm, her Clear Skies gives everyone star, but you can also draw a card with a special there. So every single time she wants to trigger that special, she can draw a card. And she can trigger specials of her weather support with her hero ability. You have to flip around them, but she has many cards in her kit that allow you to flip the specials so that you can trigger her ability and flip to that one to draw a card. I think she's pretty good. She does have a resource generator as well. I'm inclined to put it in the A tier, but I mean, this list is going to be for the practical, actually practically playing the hero, not just what they are on paper. I think she's going to go in the top of B tier for me. I don't think she cuts it to the A tier. She's not super duper rich whenever I'm playing her. I do feel like, the economy can sometimes be a struggle, even though she has that special and the Clear Skies to help you draw a card almost every single turn if you can trigger that reliably. Because sometimes I want the specials on the other weather supports instead of that one, right? So yeah, top B tier I think is fair for her. Next, let's do Magneto here. Magneto, I think he's going to go at least rich, right? So Magneto has his hero ability where you can mill from top of your deck until you get a magnetic card, add to your hand. So that's +1 every single turn that you have access to your hero form. Pretty nice. And then he also has double resources, right? With his Master of Magnetism, that's really good. And he also has a resource generator in his Magneto's helmet, but it only generates resources for magnetic cards. So not the best thing, but overall, he is going to be above Captain America because I think the double resources there are going to be better than the Super Soldier Serum. He kind of has a resource generator. It gives him steady. It's 3 costs, so more expensive than Captain America's Super Soldier Serum. So not as good as that, but because he has the doubles and the hero ability to help him get a card, I think overall, I think Magneto is more rich than Captain America. Next, let's do Phoenix here. Okay, so Phoenix, she's in a few terrible. She's not poor for sure, and she's also not going to be rich, right? She feels very much in the middle of the pack. I'm going to put her behind Ant-Man and just in front of Vision right here. Next, let's do Gambit. Gambit has double resources. He has no resource generator. Gambit is double resources. Ah, man, Gambit feels, on paper, he looks like he's pretty rich. But in actually, like, practically playing him, he doesn't feel as rich as what he looks. I'm going to put him above Phoenix and behind Ant-Man here, still in the middle of the pack. A lot of heroes, I think, are going to be in the middle of the pack for their economy. Next, let's go look at Psylocke. So Psylocke is a little bit different, right? All these heroes that we talked about earlier, I forgot to mention, they have the regular hand size of 6 in Alter Ego, 5 in hero form. Psylocke has a hand size of 6 in her Alter Ego, but only a hand size of 4 in hero form. But she does have 2 permanent resource generators that are going to be in play as a part of setup with her 2 side knives. So that's really nice. She's going to be for sure at least B tier. And then would she be an A tier level? The thing with her is the only like big resource generators that she has access to outside of her kit are going to be Avengers Mansion and Helicarrier. And because of her hand size of 4 in hero form, you really want to get down a Mansion with her. If Psylocke can flip down to Alter Ego, she has massive turns in hero form, like flipping over to hero form, because she has a hand size of 6 in Alter Ego, and she has those 2 resource generators, right? So turn 1, she goes crazy. Every time you're able to flip down, which Psylocke can do very well because she has so many ways to confuse in her kit. Yeah, I'm going to put her in the top of B tier. And I need to think if I want to put it in the A tier. It's a hand size of 4. It's really about playing the Avengers Mansion is crazy for her. And again, the Helicarrier out as well. Oh man, it's really tough. I think I'm going to keep her in the B tier. She does feel really solid though, right? B tier is not bad at all. But I think that, yeah, I think that having the hand size of 4 is not going to be as nice as these guys up here. She definitely does not feel as rich as these guys up here. So I'm going to leave her in the top of B tier above Storm. All right, next we have Jubilee. Jubilee has 3 double resource in her kit, so that's really nice. I always like that. She's going to go at least in a B tier. And then her hero ability, you can exhaust her to generate a wild resource. That's pretty nice as well. Is she going to be A tier in terms of her economy? Yeah, actually, she's pretty rich, right? You can get the X-Jet for her. Yeah, because she does have the X-Men trait. So she's going to go here in the A tier. Not as rich as Captain America or Magneto, but definitely a rich hero in her own right. Let's do Nightcrawler here. So Nightcrawler, what does he have? His cards are really cheap, so he can definitely afford his own cards at least. No, wait, he's going to go into B tier, yeah, because in Alter Ego, you can look through your deck for a Banff upgrade add to your hand, so he can start every single game with a hand size of 7, just like, the setup ability for Star-Lord and Venom, but it's not a setup ability. He can do that, every single turn that you have access to his Alter Ego. His resource generator, the pre-hand style tail, you can only generate a resource for events. So yeah, a resource generator for events is good, but I would prefer a resource generator that can be for anything. So it's similar to Magneto's helmet, but instead of for magnetic cards like the helmet, it's going to be only for events. Still solid. I think I'm going to put him behind Gambit, and I'm actually going to put him behind Phoenix here. I think that's fair. No, let's put him above Phoenix, actually. All right, next we have Rogue here. Oh man, Rogue, Rogue feels poor to me. She's above Hulk though, for sure. But I think I'm putting her in C tier. She has no resource generators. She has no double resources. Some of her cards have kickers where you can draw a card if you have the specific keyword on Rogue, like if touches on the correct enemy or on the correct type of card. Like if it's on the villain, she gains like Retaliate 1. If it's on like an ally, she gets another effect. On other heroes, she gets another effect as well, right? So sometimes if it's on the right one and if she plays an event, she can draw a card like her attack event and her authority event. But if it's not on the right one, the event won't draw the card. And sometimes you want the other effects, the other kickers from those events. So yeah, Rogue feels pretty poor whenever I'm playing her. Next, let's try to like fill this list out more instead of doing all B tier. We're gonna try to search here for a D tier level hero. I think I'm gonna actually drop Hulk down, right? I think that Yeah, could just be, biased because I want someone in the D tier, but I think Hulk definitely, it's tough. It's tough. He can afford his own cards if he gets his triple resource. If you don't have the triple resource, he can't afford his own cards. So it's just kind of like that's what determines if he can afford or not. So I'm gonna put him in D tier for now. It does feel pretty crap with Hulk whenever you have like a bunch of his big resource. Yeah, he for sure goes here actually because his Thunderclap 3-cost event, his immovable object 3-cost upgrade, his Hulk Smash 3-cost event. He has so many, his suborbital leap, his story event 3-cost event. He has so many 3-cost events and 3-cost cards for having only two triple resources. I think it's not that good. I think I was too biased by the crushing blow and those cheaper events that are great for Hulk. But yeah, he has a lot of expensive ones. So yeah, I'm gonna put him in a D tier. All right, I guess we don't have to find a D tier anymore because we got Hulk here. Let's take a look at SPDR B tier, just like Iron Man. I'm gonna put her actually right next to Iron Man because they're so similar in that they feel extremely expensive, or they feel like billionaires after they get fully built out, like definitely S tier. But early game they feel pretty poor. I'm gonna put her. Is she easier to build than Iron Man, or is she more difficult? And late game is she more rich? I'm gonna put. I think I'm gonna do it like this. I'm gonna put her above Iron Man in terms of her richness. Yeah, it's tough because her every time she acts as alter ego, she can exhaust this suit upgrade to draw 2 cards, which is really, really nice. So on turn 1, she actually starts with 6 cards in her hand because she has a hand size of 4, and her alter ego hand size of 3 in hero form. I should have mentioned that first, but you can exhaust the suit to draw 2 cards as alter ego action, so you can get 6 cards for that first turn. Yeah, I think she just has a more even pew type of thing than Iron Man, so I'm gonna put SPDR right above Tony in the B tier. Next, let's take a look at, let's do Spider Woman. So Spider Woman, I think she feels poor to me. Let me think. Okay, so does she have resource cards? No. Does she have anything on her printed identity card? No. The only economy that Spider Woman has is her finesse. It is a resource generator. It's a 2-cost generator where you can generate a wild resource only for aspect cards. So similar to like Nightcrawler, with his prehensile tail, only generating resource for events, similar to Magneto, only generating resource for magnetic cards. No, yeah, I'm gonna put Spider Woman in the B tier. I'm being biased towards because you guys know I do not like Spider Woman, but yeah, I think that she's for sure gonna be B tier in terms of her economy, because she does have a regular hand size right of 6 in alter ego, 5 in hero form. It's not terrible. I'm gonna put her in the very end though, because man, when I'm playing Spider Woman, I always want to get her resource generators down. Whenever I play it down, I also want to play either a basic card or her identity specific cards that are not aspect cards. So it stings playing a resource generator like Finesse and not being able to exhaust it immediately to generate a resource. That is the worst feeling if in the world. It feels like just so low tempo. Like I played a resource card and I'm not able to use it. And there are turns where Spider-Woman cannot use it, right? Because if you really want to prioritize playing like Captain Marvel, her identity specific ally, or like other non-aspect cards in her kit, then you may not be able to get full value from the finesse. And when a resource generator is down, similar to like Venom's Power Sense, I want to be able to use it every single turn. And Spider-Woman cannot use it every single turn. And yeah, I just don't like that. All right, next let's take a look. Let's jump a little bit actually. So we actually put in Maria Hill and Nick Fury on this list. Yeah, from the new Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. expansion. So let's do them here. I think this would be fun. So Maria Hill looks very rich to me, right? Her alter ego ability is similar to Cyclops, but you do have to exhaust Maria Hill in order to do it. But you can search your deck for any shoot upgrade at your hand, so she can start every single game with a hand set of 7, similar to Cyclops's tactician ability, but skill tactician ability. But Maria Hill, shoot supports are much better than tactic upgrades, right? Like you can get the Helicarrier on turn 1 and get a resource generator out and play already. And she also has double resources. So I think that Maria Hill is actually going to go into A tier as a pretty rich hero. But because she wants to play expensive supports all the time, overall, I think that Jubilee is going to be a little bit more rich than Maria Hill. Jubilee also has more double resources than Maria Hill, but having a double resource, having a resource generator, she has a 1-cost resource generator as well that comes in with uses, and then her alter ego ability, yeah, she's definitely up there, definitely an A tier level in terms of her richness. Actually, do I want to put her? Do I think she's more rich than I? Okay, Maria Hill is more rich than I would say even Captain America, but the way that her kit works, her kit's more expensive. So I definitely won't argue if you guys want to put Maria Hill, higher. But I think I have to consider like what she wants to be doing, which is playing expensive shoot supports. So it doesn't feel like her economy can always just attribute to like something random. It has to actually be a part of what she wants to do, which is, getting those expensive shoe supports down. So because of that, I think that's going to kind of balance her out a little bit. And so I put her behind Jubilee in the A tier. Still definitely a very rich hero, though. I think you can definitely make the case that any hero in a specific tier, like all the heroes here in the B tier, can be switched around. You can definitely make arguments for like switching these heroes around. Same for A tier. Like as long as you're in a specific tier, I think that you can move them up and down. Next, let's do Nick Fury here as well. So Nick Fury has no Nick Fury. Oh man, I'm tempted to put him as a poor hero. I think he's more rich than Rogue for sure, or at the bottom B tier. So Nick Fury has his watch, which is, I think that card is so vital for getting Nick Fury online because it is his only resource generator and the only card in like his entire kit that gives him any economy at all. You can exhaust it and remove up to 2 threat from a suit form upgrade to either generate 1 mental resource or 2 mental resources depending on how much threat you remove. Right? If you remove 2 threat from the upgrade, then you can get 2 mental resources. It is tied into losing threat on a suit form upgrade though, and if you don't have that card in play, he has no economy. His cards are pretty cheap though. I'm gonna put him in the B tier. Yeah, it's hard to evaluate. I'm gonna put him in the bottom of B tier for right now. It really depends. And if you get that resource generator in play, he definitely jumps way up, right? Probably in the higher end of B tier. But without that, and with so much reliance on that to get his economy going, I'm gonna put him in the bottom B tier. I feel like it's a little bit rough. He does have that regular hand size of 6 in Alter Ego and hand size of 5 in Hero Form, and so does Maria Hill. So yeah, they're definitely solid. B tier is solid. But yeah, just solid, not above average. Next, let's take a look at X-23. X-23 has her resource generator where you can deal her 1 damage to generate a wild resource similar to Venom's hero ability, except you actually have to play this upgrade down for X-23. It's a 1 cost upgrade though, so it's pretty cheap to play. She's going to go in the B tier. She's not overly rich, but I'm actually going to move her up, more up in the B tier. Not because she has any like double resource or like more economy on her card or anything like that. But her cards are so cheap. X-23 has really cheap cards, so when you're playing her, you feel you can easily play also that she, her identity specific cards because they're like 0 cost, 1 cost, 2 cost, like just really, really cheap cards. So because of that, she feels cheaper than playing a lot of these heroes here, like Gambit. Put her around here. Let's put her, I think behind Starlord and in front of Ant-Man is a fair spot for her. Next we have Drax here. Okay, Drax has a hand size of 6 in his Alter Ego, which is really nice, but he only has a hand size of 4 in Hero Form, which is definitely way below the curve. He's going to go in poor, but he can afford his own cards, right? Because he has pretty cheap cards, and some of his cards get cheaper if you have Avengers counts on him. Yeah, he can definitely afford his own cards. In the bottom C tier behind Rogue, I think it's a fair spot for Drax. He definitely feels poor whenever you're playing him, and if you don't want to play him in protection or aggression, like if you're playing him like to try to build out, he's going to struggle because he's super duper poor. You will not be able to get an Avengers Mansion out with Drax most of the time, unless you try really hard to do that. But yeah, most of the time Drax wants to just play his own cards, play events, and just play cheaper cards because his hand has only 4 in his hero form. He does have the knife that allows you to draw a card if he attacks. But I mean, yeah, you gotta get that in play, and then should I bump him up because of that? No, he's definitely not anywhere in the realm of being B tier when you're actually playing Drax, right? Like the practicality of this hero is not a B tier level hero. Definitely C tier, but in front of Rogue or behind her. I mean, Rogue can at least access the X Jet. I think I'm gonna put Drax behind Rogue. Next we have Iceman here. Iceman is definitely not rich. Can he make it to the B tier or is he gonna be in the C tier here? So, okay, let's see. He does have the Power Belt, generates a wild resource for ice cards, so similar to Magneto, generating it for magnetic cards, similar to Nightcrawler, generating it for events. He does have the Crowd Connect Perception, which can allow Iceman to draw a card pretty much every single turn, right? He just has to use his freeze ability. So, yeah, it's not terrible. He feels definitely more rich than Rogue. Can I put him in the B tier, though? Other than that, he doesn't have anything else really going on. I'm going to leave him here in C tier, only for the reason that he has very expensive cards in his kit, right? He has a bunch of, like the Ice Walls, very expensive. He has like a 3 cost, event to do AoE damage. He has the Frozen Solid, also a 3 cost upgrade, right? So he has pretty expensive stuff in his kit. So yeah, I think just how his kit feels, it's going to be a little bit expensive. So I am going to put him into poor, but I could definitely see the argument for bumping up to the B tier. But yeah, I think I'm just putting it here in the C tier. But next we have Adam Warlock. Adam Warlock to me is super rich, but let's evaluate it, and I may drop him down actually. So He has a resource generator in his staff. It's really nice. It just generates a wild resource. And he also has 2 Mystic Senses, which is an upgrade. Every single time you trigger his Battle Mage, you can draw a card. So you want to do that every single turn. Battle Mage discard a card from hand. You can discard an identity-specific card with Battle Mage's effect. You just don't get the effect from Battle Mage, but it still resolves Battle Mage, so you can still draw with Mystic Senses. So that is a Mystic Senses. When you play them, you can trigger every single turn. You draw 2 cards. He's very rich, actually. Yeah, I think definitely regular hand sets of 6 in Alter Ego, hand sets of 5 in Hero form. I'm gonna put him around here. Like, is he more rich than Magneto? I'm gonna put him behind Magneto for now. But Adam Warlock, I mean, he's very rich, especially whenever he's built out. He goes crazy. But Magneto is also really rich whenever he's built out as well. I think Magneto does better early game than Adam Warlock, because Adam Warlock needs to get those upgrades in play for him to get the resource generator and for him to get the Mystic Senses, right? So before that, he feels just regular, but once he gets that out, I mean, he goes pretty hard. Okay, let's do Black Panther next. Black Panther, I mean, he is, from Wakanda. He has 3 copies of Vibranium, which are double resources, right? One of the best double resources in the game because there are double wild resources. So at least B tier. And then he has the Golden City. So actually, I'm putting him as rich here, at least A tier. Because as an Alter Ego action, when you have the Golden City in play, you can just draw 2 cards. Insane. His setup ability gets you a Black Panther upgrade for you to add to your hand. So he starts every single game with a hand set of 7, similar to the set ability of Star-Lord, Venom, and Captain America. That's a pretty common set ability. He's more rich than Maria Hill because his cards are cheaper. He is more rich than Jubilee. And I think he's more rich than Captain America. Yeah, I'm putting him right here, behind Adam Warlock and in front of Captain America. I think Black Panther is pretty rich, which is very thematic. All right, next let's take a look at Rocket Raccoon. He does have double resources, which is pretty nice. His salvage. It is a mental and a wild. So at least B tier. Tinkering is really good. Tinkering is his Alter Ego ability where you can discard a tech upgrade that you control to draw 2 cards. So if Rocket Raccoon has access to Alter Ego, he can use that. Similar to Black Panther having access to Golden City as his Alter Ego support. Rocket's going to go pretty high up in the B tier. Or is he A tier even? Let's think. He has no resource generators though, right? You need to access that. Oh man, Rocket's tough. I'll put Rocket in the top of B tier. So Rocket's tough. If you can get his tinkering going on and access Alter Ego a lot, that really gets him going. He has a double resource, which is really good. And then he also has Murder You, which is his hero ability. When you do excess damage, you can draw a card. There is no limit on that. So if you're playing Ultron, Rocket is, a billionaire because he does excess damage to all the drone minions with all his weapons like Rocket's pistols and all that stuff. You draw a card every single time you defeat a drone minion. That's really nice. But I think overall, that's not the most reliable thing because you are relying on minions to be in play, so you can do excess damage to them to access that ability. So I think overall, B tier is a fair spot for Rocket Raccoon, but definitely not higher than B tier, and I definitely won't argue the case of bumping him up to the A tier. All right, next we have, let's do Ironheart here. So Ironheart has a resource card, but it's not a double, so it's not that great. Whenever she's fully built out, she has a hand set of 6 in hero form in her stage 3, so that's pretty nice. She's similar to Iron Man and SPDR, right? When she's built out, she's really good. She does have pseudo resource generators in her kit as well. I think she's definitely not as good as Iron Man and SPDR when she's built out. Like, not in terms of like how good she is, but in terms of her economy, right? So at least here, and then overall, no, she starts with a hand size of 5 in hero form, right? Like on turn 1, or not hand size 5, hand size of 4 in hero form, like on turn 1. So that is not great. But these guys also start with not that great. Yeah, I'm putting her. I think this is fair. Same with the other, build out type of heroes, right? Because hand size of 6 in hero form every single turn is really, really nice whenever she's on her stage 3. So yeah, I think that's a fair spot for Ironheart. Next we have Groot. Groot, similar to Rocket, he needs to access Alter Ego to trigger his Ferro Ground, which is I think it's a support. It's a 1-card support that allows Groot to draw a card and get a growth counter. I mean, that's the best card in his kit. I love that card. He's going to go into B tier because of that card. He has no doubles or anything like that. Yeah, he needs to access Alter Ego to get his economy going. But, I mean, hand size of 6 in hero form, in Alter Ego, and hand size of 5 in hero form, so just a regular stuff. I'm putting behind Nick Fury. I think that he's solid, but similar to Nick, he needs that 1 card to really get him going, and without that, he has no other economy stuff in his kit. Next, we have Gamora here. Gamora has resource generators, but only for events. So similar to the prehensile tail from Nightcrawler. She has a really cheap kit. She can play like a bunch of stuff because everything is very cheap. Um, but she does have some more expensive events. Her sword is a little bit expensive. She's no other economy other than those research generators. And if you're trying to build out with her, it's tough. I'm gonna put her near the bottom of B tier, but above these guys. Um, I'm gonna put her behind Vision here and in front of Spider Woman. All right. Next we have Wasp. Wasp. Okay, so Wasp, similar to Ant-Man, has three forms. Hands of 6 in Alter Ego, and she has hands of 5 in both of her hero forms, which is pretty nice. Pim Caracos is just one resource, is not a double, but you spend it in the right form, you can draw a card. It's not terrible. She has no other like resource generator type cards in her kit though, so not as rich as Ant-Man definitely whenever I'm playing her. Also gonna be somewhere in the middle of the pack here, like in B tier. Um, I think I'm gonna put her. Actually, is she actually behind Groot? What does Wasp have to generate economy? She has nothing, right? I mean, couldn't care she has access to that, but like other heroes can get access to Avengers Mansion or a helicarrier. She actually doesn't really have too much. Yeah, yeah. Actually, I'm gonna put Wasp in the bottom of B tier. She just has a hands of 6 in her hero form, hands of 5, or sorry, hands of 6 in Alter Ego, hands of 5 in hero form, which is the norm. She doesn't feel poor like Iceman or Rogue, but she definitely is not as good as anyone else in front of her. And next we have Black Widow. Black Widow is going to be at least B tier. She has some nice ways to draw cards, right? In Alter Ego, as a response, after you play a prep card, you can draw a card. She does have research generators, but only for prep cards, so similar to like Gamora having it only for events. But that is a nice thing to have. Let's put her at least in front of Gamora. Same regular hand sets of 6 in Alter Ego, 5 in hero form. Can she really build out or do anything else? No, I think that's, yeah. And her prep cards sometimes feel pretty expensive to get down. I'll put her behind Vision and in front of Gamora. Next we have Nebula here. Nebula does have a resource generator in her ship. It generates a water resource, which is pretty nice. But that's it. No, wait, no. She has her Alter Ego ability where you can draw cards from tech upgrades. So actually, that's pretty nice. She goes into B tier as well. Definitely still gonna be in the bottom end of B tier just because the way that her kit works. Even if she has good stuff, the way that her kit works isn't very fluid because of the forced response in hero form. If you end your turn in hero form, you have to discard all the tech upgrade, or sorry, the technique upgrades. Yeah, I guess it is tech, but yeah, technique upgrades that she has. So that kind of stinks. I'm gonna put her behind Gamora. Yeah, just right behind Gamora and Black Widow. Next we have Magic here. Magic's economy, I think she's rich, right? I mean, just on paper, I feel like she's rich. So Magic's economy, what does she do? She has hand size of 6 in Alter Ego, hand size of 5 in hero form, so the regular stuff. But in her hero form, you can play with the top card of your deck face up, and you can play it as if you're in your hand with the cost reduction of 1. So that's really nice. Limbo lets you switch stuff around. It's not a resource generator, but allows you to switch stuff around. She does have the Mystic trait, so she can play Sorcerer Supreme and get the hand size of 6 in hero form. That is, going to be bonus points for her. Overall, I think she's rich. I don't think she's as rich as any of the heroes above her, though. So the bottom of A tier, I think on paper she looks really, really rich, but actually whenever I'm playing her, I do feel like I struggle with economy sometimes. So bottom A tier, I think is fair for Magic. Next we have Doctor Strange. Similar to Magic, he's a Mystic, so he has the Sorcerer Supreme, or access to that 2-cost upgrade to increase the hand size of 1 in hero form, which is really good. And he has a resource generator in his Eye of Agamotto. That's really good as well. He can play his Invocation deck with a spell master where you exhaust to play and then pay the resource cost of the top card of your Invocation deck. But that's really cool because there's no effective resource of actually losing a card from your hand to play that card, right? Because the Invocation deck is not in your hand. It's like a separate deck that you can trigger the cards on, without losing, the card in your hand. So he's pretty good. I think he's pretty rich. No double resource or anything like that. He's gonna go A tier. Definitely rich, but let me think. I think I'm actually put him behind Maria Hill here. He has the 1 resource generator, but that's pretty much the only thing that he's got going on, right? It's a resource generator and being able to access and play cards without playing it straight from hand. But if he does want to actually play an ally or cards from his hand, he does actually have to spend that effective resource. And to trigger the invocation, he has to exhaust as a cost, right? So exhausting, it is kind of a steep cost in order to do that. So yeah, I think behind Maria Hill in front of Magic is a good spot for Doctor Strange. Next we have Hawkeye. Hawkeye has 2 resource generators, but only for arrow events. Similar to a lot of heroes that we've seen so far, like with Gamora for her events, like we've seen with Spider-Woman for only aspect cards, or Nightcrawler for his event, right? So definitely at least C tier. He could definitely pay for all of his cards. His cards are relatively cheap. Do I struggle with the economy with Hawkeye? I do struggle with the economy though. He has nothing else printed on his hero form or his alter ego. No other resource stuff. Yeah, resources only for air events, I think is the worst. Not the worst thing. It's pretty not good though, right? I would rather a more expensive resource generator like the Superstore Serum instead of the 1 cost for Hawkeye, 2 costs for Captain America for the Superstore Serum, but it can generate a resource for anything. That is way more valuable because sometimes I don't want to play those trash air events from Hawkeye. So yeah, he's going to go in the top of C tier. He could definitely afford his cards better than these guys because these guys have more expensive cards in their kit or more difficulty affording them. But he definitely feels like a struggle to make it to the B tier. Definitely feels like a different class than B tier heroes in terms of Hawkeye's economy. Next we have War Machine. War Machine is going to be similar to Hawkeye actually. So he has his gauntlets, which can generate a wild resource for those War Machine cards. So yeah, I mean, it's decent-ish. He has no other resource generators, right? Yeah, he's gonna be actually in a C tier as well. I feel pretty poor when I'm playing War Machine. No resource cards. Worse than Iceman. Worse than Iceman, better than Rogue. Yeah, I think this is a good spot for War Machine. Next we have Spectrum. Spectrum has a resource generator, which is pretty nice. She has no resource cards. Her cards feel pretty easy to play, and she does have the regular hand size of 6 in alter ego, 5 in hero form. She's pretty solid. I'm gonna put her in the B tier. I'll put her above these guys here. Maybe around like here. Let's think here. I think Black Widow's got more stuff going on, right, with her alter ego ability to be able to draw a card each time you play perk card. So yeah, Black Widow in front of Spectrum, and then yeah, Spectrum in front of Gamora. And next we have Scarlet Witch. She does not have any double resources. She actually doesn't have any resource generators as well, right? She feels. I'm actually surprised because people love Scarlet Witch, but I actually don't feel like she's A tier in terms of her economy. She feels solid though, so B tier. And then she can draw a bunch of cards with her Hex Boats if you get the correct Hex Boat thing going on. She has a Mystic trait, so she can become the Sorcerer Supreme just like Doctor Strange in Magic. So she's going to rise pretty high in the B tier, but I don't think she's like super duper rich when I'm playing her. I'm going to put her actually behind Ironheart here. So behind these 3 tech giants, but in front of Venom. I think it's a good spot for Scarlet Witch. Next we have Ghost Spider. Okay, Ghost Spider has her what are those called? The not the web shooters, but her version of the web shooters. It's a 2-cost upgrade each time you resolve a response or interrupt. You can exhaust that card and draw a card. So that's decent, but it's tied into her being able to trigger, interrupt, or respond. So you can't do that for a specific round. Then you don't get that effect to draw a card. So that stinks every single time you don't get to draw a card with that. That is, she feels somewhere here, low B tier or high C tier. Nope. Oh, she does have a double resource actually. Her ticket to the multiverse. It's a double WoW, which is pretty nice. Her kit is, I feel like it's actually fairly expensive, right? Or for what she wants to do. Usually she can only do like 1 or 2 things per turn, and she can't really build out as much as other heroes. I'm gonna put her in the C tier, but in front of Hawkeye. And I can definitely see the case for putting her in the B tier. I won't argue against that, but I think, yeah, Ghost Spider feels a little bit restricted in her economy and how she wants to play. We only have Captain Marvel here in the S tier, which is surprising. I don't. Is Magneto and Adam Warlock? Should I bump them up? I'm not sure. Let's finish this list here, and then we can see where we want to put everyone. Let's do Colossus next. Hand size of 6 in alter ego, which is the norm, but only hand size of 4 in hero form, which is definitely below average. Not great there. He feels solid though because of Armor Up, allowing him to flip over. So Armor Up is a 0-cost event. If villain schemes, Colossus can flip up to hero form. So that is really nice because he can access his alter ego hand size of 6 a lot, and that's kind of the strategy that you want to do with Colossus. Unlike the other heroes, he has a for sure way. It's going to be even through a star enemy, right? To be an alter ego, access his hand size of 6, and then still be able to flip over to hero form, get a tough, and then immediately flip back down to draw back up to 6 when he ends his turn in the hero phase again. So I think he's actually better than a lot of these lower heroes here, even though he only has a hand size of 4 in his hero form. I'm going to put him in front of Vision and behind Phoenix right here. Next we have Wolverine. Wolverine I actually feel like struggles a little bit with his economy. So Wolverine has great economy for attack events because with his claws, you can do damage to Wolverine equal to the cost of attack event that you have. and then play that attack event for free. But everything else, he has to pay the actual cost for. So if you're trying to play allies, trying to do thwarting, Wolverine actually has trouble doing that. He's going to go, I think, just bottom a B tier in front of Wasp. No, behind Wasp. I actually feel like he kind of struggles playing a lot of cards down whenever I'm playing Wolverine, at least. All right. Next, we have Nova here. Nova, see, he has a helmet, so that can generate a wild resource, which is really nice. You can ready up the helmet each time Nova uses basic power, so you want to keep on getting those readies to get the resources back going. He does have his resource generator, or sorry, his resource card is a little bit weird in terms of it's not a double, so it's one single wild resource is connection to the world mine, but when you draw it, it does not count towards your hand size. So if you draw it like with an Avengers Mansion, it stinks because then you don't get drawn another card. But if you draw it up while you're drawing up to your hand size of 6 or your hand size of 5, it doesn't count towards it, so you can draw an additional card. So yeah, Nova I think is pretty rich. He's gonna go pretty high up. Definitely not A tier, but somewhere in the B tier here. I'm gonna put him around here. I think I'm gonna put Nova. Let's put him behind Storm and in front of Cyclops. Next we have Cable. Cable has the Grey Malkin, which is a 2-cost resource generator that you can exhaust to generate an energy resource. But each time you defeat a side scheme, that resource generator raises up. There's no limit per turn, so I've used that like 3-4 times per turn by just clearing out a bunch of side schemes, which is crazy with Cable. Cable is the one hero that I never include Avengers Mansion with whenever I'm building a deck with him, because he doesn't need it. He feels so fluid. So he actually doesn't have too much other stuff going on, but the economy that Cable has, it's clearing side schemes to cheat cards in, right? So if you clear like a build support and you throw it off, like all throw it on there, you don't have to actually pay the cost for a support with the cost 3 or less. You get it in for free with the build supports effect. So Cable is not like, having economy to play stuff in, but he's cheating everything in with his, superpower training, with, just all those cards that allow him to get an upgrade or support into play after defeating that side scheme, right? So Cable is actually going to be A tier for me. He feels very, very rich. Whenever I'm playing him, my only non-Avengers Mansion hero that I never include with him, he goes really high up. He feels more rich than most of these heroes here. I'm tempted to put him in S tier, but I feel like that's a disservice to heroes that have, more stuff on paper, right? On paper, Cable does not have the economy, but being able to cheat in stuff with the side schemes, oh no, I'm going to put Cable S tier, actually. I think that he is our next S tier level hero in terms of economy, because he's a cheater. Like he doesn't pay for stuff normally, right? He doesn't need resource cards to pay for stuff. Yeah, if you guys watch my Cable games, even in true solo against Expert Ronin, I played the 5-cost Peter Parker Spider-Man Justice Ally so many times, and I've had the breathing room and the economy to play that ally there, against the most liquid villain in the game, Ronin the Accuser, which is pretty crazy. So yeah, Cable, even without the Avengers Mansion, I think that he has really good economy, and he goes in S tier. Not as rich as Captain Marvel, but he can definitely feel like he can pay for all the stuff that he wants to do in his kit and aspect cards as well. Yeah, very rich hero Cable is. Okay, next we have Thor here. Thor has a hand size of 5 in his alter ego, hand size of 4 in hero form, so that is not good. But he does have 2 resource generators in his God Thunder, which it's a 2-cost upgrade, can generate a energy resource, which is really nice. Thor, when fully built out, is actually like similar to like Iron Man and SPDR and Ironheart. So Thor's actually going to be in the B tier, but not that high up, right? Kind of for different reasons than the other B tier heroes. So if he just had a hand size of 6 in alter ego and a hand size of 5 in hero form, he would be, right up there with, SPDR and Iron Man, probably above them actually. Maybe even in the A tier. But having a hand size of 4 in his hero form is pretty rough. But his Havoc D is his hero ability. Each time you engage a minion, you can draw a card. So if a minion engages you while you're in hero form, you can draw 2 cards. So if a minion engages you while you're in hero form, Havoc D will draw you 2 cards. That is really powerful. I've, sometimes, gotten a minion during the player phase, with a minion summoning card like squared off. And then during the encounter phase, I get dealt a minion as an encounter card. So I'm drawing 4 cards there, across the 2 phases there, which is insane. There are definitely some decks with Thor where his economy can go crazy. He also has, his alter ability, Worthy, where you can, grab Mjolnir from deck or discard pile, add to your hand, so you get, that plus extra hand size if you want to use Mjolnir as a resource. And then he also has, here's one more thing, Asgard, yeah, 3-cost support, gives him +1 hand size, so you get that in play, he becomes a regular hero with hand size of 6 in alter ego, hand size of 5 in hero form. So yeah, Thor, actually, saying all of that, he goes I think I am gonna put him like around here. He's not as rich as Venom or Star-Lord. I'm gonna put him actually in front of X-23, which feels weird to say, but he has so many things going on. His start is definitely a lot worse than like X-23 or a lot of the heroes here. But when Thor is fully built out, he is up there with like Iron Man, Adam Warlock, Magneto in terms of like how good his economy is whenever he has that fully built out state. Even without, I play many games with Thor where I never even play Asgard, but I have both the God of Thunders. I have Avengers Mansion, Helicarrier, and Couldn't Carry in play. So that's 5 resource generators. I mean, just having 2 copies of that, similar to Captain America having 2 copies of the Super Soldier Serum, it's just really nice, and it really feels good with its economy. And then you can have at these to draw a lot of cards each time you engage minions as well. So yeah, I think in the middle pack here for Thor, which is surprising. I think that on paper, Thor looks like he'll probably be like in the C tier or D tier. But yeah, he's going to be right here in the middle of the pack. Next we have Domino. So Domino, I'm going to evaluate her with Digging Deeps. I think that is just such a good card for her, and that every single deck that you build with Domino, you are going to be including Digging Deeps no matter what. She has a triple resource in her jackpot, which is really nice. And then Digging Deep, if you guys do not know, if it's a resource card, it's only 1 resource though. But if it's this card from top of your deck, you can add to your hand. So you get a free card to your hand that you can spend as a resource if Dom discards from top of her deck. She has a lot of deck manipulation stuff to discard from top of her deck, so that's really nice. So yeah, I'm going to put her in the B tier. And she actually, wait a minute. Is she A tier? Let's put her in the top of B. Because the way that her alter ego abilities work, and her hero ability as well, there's ways for her to manipulate her resource cards to use them multiple times, right? So sometimes she feels really rich, but when I'm playing her, I don't feel... Yeah, no, she's not going to go in the higher end of A tier. She feels definitely worse in terms of her economy than the big, tech giants I have right here. Yeah, she's going to be, yeah, just the practicality of playing Domino, I don't feel very rich whenever I'm playing her. So I'm put her in front of Gambit, more rich than him. And I think behind Ant-Man is a good spot for Domino. I'm not sure why, because I feel on paper it looks really good. But when I'm actually playing her, I don't feel as rich. Next we have Spider-Ham. Okay, there's our S tier. I'm just going to go ahead and throw him up there. I think he's going to be in the top S tier, right? So Spider-Ham has a regular hand size of 6 in alter ego, hand size of 5 in his hero form. And then he has his tune counters, which is his hero ability. So each time you take damage on Spider-Ham, you get a tune counter. And you can spend tune counters as if they were resources or wild resources, right? So if you hypothetically get 20 tune counters, then you get 20 resources, right? He has, his economy is just crazy. So much stuff going on with Spider-Ham. Is he going to be... I don't know, though, if he's above Captain Marvel. So I think on paper, he definitely is. But this is going to be a hot take, actually, because I think a lot of you guys would say that Spider-Ham is number 1. But actually, in the practicality, whenever I'm playing Spider-Ham, he's definitely still S tier. He feels very rich, but I don't feel like his economy is as insane as Captain Marvel or even Cable, actually. Which is a little bit weird to say, because the tune counter mechanic is crazy. Yeah, maybe I'm playing Spider-Ham wrong, guys. Let me know. No, I mean, wait a minute. If you're playing with leadership, with clarity of purpose, you take a damage and generate a wall resource. I mean, but is it fair to evaluate him with that? I mean, there's so many decks that have that for him. The Web Live Destiny, he is a Web Warrior. He gets, yeah, you know what? I talked myself back into it. We're going to put him number 1 here in the S tier. Definitely the richest here in the game, I think. Next we have Valkyrie. Hand size of 6 in her alter ego, hand size of 5 here form. So she does have a regular hand size thing going on, which is pretty nice. But when I'm playing her, she feels very, very poor. So I'm going to put her down here. And the question is, so she definitely can't afford even a powerful leadership build with just ally a swarm, which is why she goes here. But it's because her cards are so expensive, right? Because of Death Glow requiring 1 resource to play, even though there is no effective resource to play because it's sets that out of play, so you can just play if you spend a resource. But it really stinks playing Death Glow. I want Death Glow to be a 0 cost upgrade, but if it's 0 cost, then it's too good. But 1 cost just feels too expensive as well. So she's kind of going to be like Hulk, where she can't even pay for her own cards. Do I struggle paying for her? I do. Yeah, Valkyrie's going to go in D tier. Behind Hulk? I'm put her behind Hulk. This is really weird because Valkyrie has hand size of 6 in alter ego, hand size of 5 hero form. So she should be, kind of normal. But, and I have a playthrough on my channel playing her with the, ally swarm, powerful, leadership build with Valkyrie. and it was rough. The economy felt tough. I was not able to do play a lot of stuff. I felt very limited. It's just that her kits, she can't afford her own kit. And unlike Hulk, I can actually get fully built out and set up. So yeah, like Hulk with its economy, I've a playthrough on his channel where I defeated Magneto, Expert Magneto, playing as Hulk because I was able to get the economy going and get him set up. I was not able to defeat Expert Magneto with Valkyrie because her economy just hindered her way too much for what her kit is. Even though Hulk on paper looks way worse than Valkyrie with his economy, I actually think Valkyrie is worse. And that is crazy to say. I am kind of surprised by that. But yeah, she's going to go in the bottom here. Probably the bottom of this list, I think. Next we have Angel. He has a regular hand sets of 6 in Alter Ego and hand sets of 5 in both of his hero forms. He has his techno organic wings, which can help you reduce the cost of the next area event you play, which is really, really nice. He's pretty solid in the B tier. No resource generators or anything like that. I mean, he has that pseudo resource generator with his techno organic wings. He's gonna go here. He does have resource cards, but they're not like doubles. You can include the aerial resource card, which can be which can generate more resources for only aerial cards, which is pretty nice. But yeah, I think Angel, I mean, he feels more rich than these guys over here, but definitely just middle of the pack B tier. I'll put Angel, let's put him around this category here. I'll put him in front of Vision. All right, next we have Miss Marvel. All right, Miss Marvel, oh man, okay. So Miss Marvel she has great stuff and great draw power, but they're usually in the form of alter ego personas or alter ego supports, right? She feels not rich to me. She's gonna go in the bottom of B tier, but she does have the hand sets of 6 in her alter ego, hand sets of 5 hero form. At the same time, if she can access alter ego reliably, her hand size goes crazy because those alter ego supports help you manipulate a lot of stuff and draw a bunch of cards. So yeah, I'm gonna put her behind Colossus here. So if you access alter ego reliably, she goes definitely way up. Like, she feels rich. But Colossus at least has a reliable way to access alter ego with the armor up. And Miss Marvel, unless you're confusing, but against a star enemy you can't confuse, she doesn't have as easy of a way to flip down alter ego than Colossus does. Next we have Shadowcat. Shadowcat does not feel rich to me. So she does have a permanent resource generator in her like solid mass form, but it only generates resources for events. So yeah, I don't know. Does she have anything else? No resource cards or anything like that. She can definitely pay for her own cards, so not D tier. But I think she's gonna go in C tier here as well. And she feels not as bad, not as clunky as Ghost Spider. So definitely in the higher end of C tier. And one thing that I say whenever I say clunky, right, guys, with Shadowcat and Ghost Spider, their kits are clunky against Expert Ronin and Expert Venom Goblin, right? They're not clunky. They work really well against easy villains like Rhino or something like that, right? It's against those top level villains that have so much pressure that make Shadowcat not be able to afford the things that she wants to do in order to maneuver around that scenario. So every single list that I make, I put Shadowcat and Ghost Spider kind of low. And shouts to you guys that comment and tell me that I'm wrong. Maybe I am wrong. This is entirely just my opinion, right? But yeah, in my experience playing these heroes, I think that their reliability in their economy can be stifled if the villain is giving too much pressure towards them, right? If you have all the time in the world, they're fine doing their own thing, but yeah, they can't just like build out and take their time, putting out Avengers Mansion, putting out Helicarriers, which are research generators to help you get built out and have you feel like you're really rich and having that massive economy. Yeah, so that's where they go for me. Next, we're going to do Deadpool. Deadpool has Montage. It is a resource card and generates more resources depending on the number of acceleration tokens in play. So it can go up to being a quadra resource, which is really nice. But most of the time it's going to be a single or a double or a triple. So yeah, Dev does not feel poor. His alter ego ability, you had this card from hand to get a Deadpool event out to your hand. So it's just refunding one. His cards are not expensive. Yeah, he doesn't feel overly crazy or anything like that. He's just going to go in the B tier. Just solid. I don't feel like when I'm playing him, though, he's as poor as Wolverine. I'm going to put him... He can get stuff down a lot easier than a lot of these guys. Let's put him behind Angel here in the middle of the B tier. And next we have Spider-Man Miles Morales. Let's see. Miles has Genki Lee, which can draw you a card if you're in Alter Ego. If you're in Hero form, he draws you a card, but you have this card, also similar to Bruce Banner's, Scientist right here. His alter ego ability where you draw a card and discard a card. So Miles has this card to use Genki Lee if he's in hero form. Not the most reliable economy card, but his cards are so cheap, so he definitely is going to be at least B tier. He has no resource generators or economy cards other than that, but he feels a lot more rich than a lot of these heroes here, right? Like Wolverine, Wasp, all these guys. So let's put him not as rich as Venom though, right? Not as rich as Star-Lord. I'll put him in front of Thor here. I think it's a good spot for Miles. All right, next we have Peter Parker Spider-Man. Okay, Spider-Man is really rich. You guys know he's going to go at least into A tier. And okay, so in Alter Ego, he has Scientist, which can generate a mental resource. And then in a hero form, Spider-Sense can generate you or can draw your card every single time the villain initiates an attack against you. He has 2 web shooters as well. So yeah, it's pretty crazy because flipping down to Alter Ego allows you to access that resource. Getting the web shooters is really good. It's a 1-cost upgrade. It does have uses though. But the thing with Peter Parker is that he builds out a lot easier than a lot of other heroes. And he's going to go in S tier for me. You know, you guys know that I'm biased. I know everyone's going to tell me that I'm biased for Spider-Man. I really think his economy is crazy. And if you guys watch my playthroughs, you guys see me build out like crazy with Peter Parker. I think he goes above Cable. I don't think he's as good as Spider-Ham, but he's going to be around Captain Marvel here. Captain Marvel has triple resources. Spider-Man has... So, in terms of like, you know, their economy, the Scientist, in terms of true solo, is going to be similar to Commander for Captain Marvel, their Alter Ego ability, because Captain Marvel has the... you can draw a card for yourself, and then Spider-Man can generate much resource. Drawing card is better because you have an extra option, but it's still going to be just +1 unless you draw into a double resource or a triple resource. It's usually just going to be a +1, right? You can't calculate that and be like, okay, I'm going to expect to draw into double. Whenever you're playing out your turn, you have to calculate you just draw into 1 card. Sometimes I actually like just having a resource generator instead of drawing a card because I don't want to draw into a key card that I'm planning to use as a resource, and I can't use the resource anymore because I drew it and I want to use it during the deck pass, right? So I think that's debatable either way. Definitely drawing cards better though. I'm not arguing against that. But for their hero forms, rechannel, you have to spend an energy resource to get that effect back. Spider-Man, the Spider-Sense just draws your card and it ramps up as you're going on. Captain Marvel, she has her Alter Ego, or her, it's not Alter Ego support, but the Alpha Flight Station, where you can draw a card in this card in hero form. In Alter Ego, you can draw 2 cards, so you get a +1 Alter Ego, but in hero form, you don't. That's similar to web shooters, but I think web shooters are better than those. But the triple resources are big for Captain Marvel. It's hard because, you know, I think I'm putting Captain Marvel in front of Peter Parker Spider-Man, but I could definitely see the case for Peter Parker being above Captain Marvel in his economy. Not in terms of on paper. I think Captain Marvel's got to be on paper, but in terms of actually playing him and the practicality of playing Peter Parker Spider-Man, he feels very, very rich. But yeah, I'm putting him below Captain Marvel. Just so you guys don't call me super biased, even though you guys probably still will, because maybe you guys don't think that Spider-Man's S tier level in terms of his survivability. But it's funny seeing him there because we all know he's not a billionaire, but in this game, in Marvel Champions, Spider-Man Peter Parker is a billionaire. He's very, very rich. All right, next we have 3 more heroes here. Okay, Quicksilver. He is poor. I'm putting him immediately down in the C tier. He has his resource generator in his friction resistance. It's a 3-cost upgrade. Generates a physical resource, and every single time Quicksilver raises up, you can ready up that friction resistance and generate another physical resource, which is really, really good. He's really good when he's built out, but even then, he's not super rich when he's built out. He can just do what he wants to do. Building out is so tough with him because he has a stat line of 111, and you can get to a stat line of 222 with his, his identity-specific upgrades, but they're all 2 costs, which feels pretty expensive for him. And the craziest thing is that his one that gives him +1 defense, it's a 2-cost upgrade to give Quicksilver +1 defense. Armor, like the armor vest from protection, it's a 1-cost upgrade into the protection aspect, him in the core box to give a hero +1 defense. So his defense upgrade it's worse than that, which is crazy. Yeah, I don't know what to say about that. He just feels really tough building out. He's, you guys have probably heard me say this. I always call Quicksilver Slow Silver because he's just so slow building out. Yeah, he goes in a C tier for me. He feels poor whenever I'm playing him. Around here, I'm gonna put him in front of War Machine and Rogue, and behind Iceman. All right, next we have Bishop. Well, Bishop's gonna be really rich, right? So Bishop has double resources, which is really nice. Yeah, and then so he's got that going on, and then yeah, he's all about resources, right? So you want to include a bunch of resources whenever you're building with Bishop. So he definitely feels rich just because you have all his resources, and his kit revolves around that. Where if you have resources whenever you're paying for his cards, you get secondary kickers, and you get more powerful effects off it, right? So Bishop, you always want to include, in my opinion, at least 8 resources, and I see a lot of people include more. For me, the sweet spot is 8 because I don't want to have just overflowing with resources. But yeah, he's very rich. Is he going to be S tier? Yeah, I think Bishop's S tier here, and I think he's more rich than Cable. Is he more rich than Spider-Man? Bishop's alter ego ability, temporal displace, where you flip over from hero to alter ego form. You can get any temporal card from this card out to your hand, so it's always going to be at least +1. And if you get Bishop's double resource, it's a +2. So actually, he's pretty rich. More rich than Captain Marvel? Yeah, because Captain Marvel, I would hope to draw into a resource card, a double resource with her commander. Bishop just doesn't. And, you know, Captain Marvel does have the triple resources, but I do like Bishop's doubles a lot because they have that temporal trait that you can grab with this alter ego ability. And yeah, I think Bishop is actually one of the richest here in the game. Number 2, right behind Spider-Ham. All right, and then last, we have She-Hulk here. Okay, She-Hulk is hard. Either bottom of B tier or top of C tier. So She-Hulk has a hand size of 6 in her alter ego. Hand size of only 4 in hero form, so she is below average in her hero form. But she does have 2 copies of a pseudo resource generator in her focus rage. It's a 3-cost upgrade. You take a damage and then draw a card. So the thing with that is I prefer Avengers Mansion because it's 1 cost more, but you can draw a card without taking a damage. And you can only use the focus rage in hero form because it's a hero action. That's kind of the only common thing she's got going on. Split personality is a really good, it's kind of like a economy card. It's a drawing card, right? If you play split personality, you can change forms and draw up to your printed hand size. So you spend all the cards in your hand to play split personality, and then you flip from hero form over to alter ego. You can draw 6 cards, but that's just one event. It's not something that's going to be in play. So whenever I'm playing She-Hulk, I'm revolving my my strategy very heavily around drawing that card, right? If I don't get that card, so it's, and then if it gets to, if it's like the last card at the bottom of my deck, and then I have to cycle through my deck, and then I shuffle my discard pile back into the deck, then I don't get to play split personality for the next deck pass, which really stinks, and that happens so often, in my opinion, when I'm playing She-Hulk. But yeah, I think I'm gonna put her in the top of C tier. She can build out way better than Shadowcat and Ghost Spider, but she feels poor initially until she can start to get built out. And her fully built out state is not as rich as like, Iron Man or SPTR, but definitely whenever she's fully built out, I think that she's A tier level in terms of how rich that she is. But the climb to get there, I think, is a little bit tough. The Focus Rage, there's so many games where I don't even play the Focus Rage, and I have like Avengers Mansion and Helicarrier down. I think that I like those cards. I have more priority on Avengers Mansion and Helicarrier than with the Focus Rage is there. But yeah, if she was built out, she's definitely very, very rich. It's just, can she get there? Yeah, all right, there we go, guys. We finished this. Hopefully we're able to do this one in an hour. I'm not sure. We will see. I have no clue when I started. So yeah, this is our tier list for ranking all the heroes in Marvel Champions by how rich they are. We have only 2 heroes that I think are the most poor in the game, which is Hulk and Valkyrie, and they cannot even afford their own cards. We have a couple heroes here, 9 heroes here in the C tier, which are the poorest heroes in the game, in my opinion. And we have a bunch in the B tier here, tons of B tier heroes, probably more than any other list, right? So it's at 5, 10, 11. So we have 33 heroes here in the B tier. And yeah, I mean, it's definitely very arguable where you want to put them in and out. Like, you can definitely move Wolverine up or down if you want to. For heroes like Wolverine and Wasp, and like Groot, for example, right? They have the hero hand size of 5 and alter ego hand size of 6, and they may not look like they have that many stuff going on in their kit, but whenever I'm playing them, they at least feel solid compared to Valkyrie, who has the exact same thing on paper, right? The hand size of 6 and alter ego, hand size of 5 hero form, but whenever I'm actually playing her, I don't feel like she can afford her cards. So a lot of the heroes here, it's just really based off of my bias and my preference whenever I'm playing them. And Wolverine does not feel like he's very rich when I'm playing him, other than whenever I'm rushing with him, right? I feel like I'm actually struggling to play a lot of cards for Wolverine, which is why he goes at the bottom of B tier for me. But definitely B tier is still solid, right? It's definitely just, average, not like terribly under average or anything like that. We have, let me see, we have 8 heroes in the A tier that are rich, and then 5 billionaires here. Yeah, I don't know. I think we could definitely make the case for putting Magneto up here or putting Cable down in the A tier. But it's just whenever I'm playing Cable, I feel like I don't even have to get set up. I feel like he just cheats everything in. He's just defeating side skins, and I'm just playing him at that tempo and then complete obliterating the villain, right? It's just the ability to just cheat stuff in with player side skins is, to me, is really good economy. So yeah, that's kind of where Cable goes for me. And yeah, this is it here for the tier list. I hope you guys all enjoyed this video. Thank you so much to channel members once again for all of your support. I hope you guys all enjoy this one. Let me know what you guys think. Do you guys agree or disagree? Let me know as usual where I'm wrong, and yeah, I am definitely open to hearing it. As like in the other list, if you guys give me a good argument, I will completely concede and say that that's a fair point. I completely let that out, and they should move up a tier or down a tier. But yeah, this is what I think right now, and yeah, let me know what you guys think, and I'll see you guys all in the next one.